Hi everybody. I don't know if you recognize that song or not, but that song was from the Woody Woodpecker show, and I thought that was appropriate to play in this guitar because this is a small guitar. It's kind of like a cartoon guitar almost. And anyway, what we're going to do with this is we're going to work on this guitar today, and we're going to change the strings for the customer, and we're going to set up the action on it so it's a little bit more playable. We're going to use this as a student guitar, and we're going to make it much more easier to play than it already is. But anyway, that first song was just for fun, and now we're going to try and get going and work on the guitar. Thanks. Anyway, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to remove the strings that we currently have on there, and then what we're going to attempt to do is we're going to clean the frets, and we're going to oil up the fretboard. After we do this, we're going to install the new strings, we're going to adjust the neck accordingly, and then we're going to test play it, and we should be all set. Let me take a minute to introduce the tools that we're going to be using today to assist in taking the strings off and putting the strings back on the guitar again. The first tool we're going to use today is a string winder. This will help us in the applications of removing the strings and fast access putting the strings back on again. We'll also use a needle nose pliers and a miniature wire cutter or crimper. Lastly, to help us remove the strings, because this guitar has what we call guitar push pins in it, we have a push pin remover. We'll begin by removing the strings or loosening them. You can see how the string winder really expedites the process. So once we have all the tension removed, it's now safe to pry up the pins which hold these strings under tension. With the strings cut, we now use needle nose pliers to manipulate the string and safely remove it away from the tuning machine. During this time of the year, during the winter time, the air is very, very dry due to the heating systems that we have at home, and therefore it causes the wood to dry out and actually shrink. And for a guitar, when the wood begins to shrink, the frets actually protrude on the sides, and you can actually feel the protrusion, and the metal frets will actually clip the ends of your hands while you're playing. By keeping it moist and keeping it oiled, the oil will then tend to swell the fingerboard back up and give it the moisture that it needs to retain its original size. So right now we're going to use a chrome polish, and we're going to do a real quick buff job on these frets. We just use a very tiny small amount, and I'll start up here and I'll work my way down. Any type of a rag that you have at home would work, preferably some sort of cotton, something that will be lint free. Terry cloth towel works perfectly for something like this. We'll just use a bit of lemon oil. The frets themselves don't seem to be protruding off the outside of the fretboard. If they did, we might want to put a lot of oil on it and let it sit for about an hour or so, just to let it soak in. But because it's not too bad, and for purposes of the video, we'll just put down an application and we'll wipe it dry. This is the end of the guitar string. Guitar strings have a brass ball end at the bottom. And that ball end is used in many different ways on an acoustic guitar with these pins. We take the string and then we insert it into the hole, and we use the pin to find the bottom of the ball and lock the string into position. Now that we have the string in position, we're going to place the opposite end of the string into the eye of the tuning machine. The tuning machine is a metal gear device that actually winds the string so that we can tighten and loosen the string, thus providing a higher or lower pitch. I'm going to use my string winder. Okay, we have all the strings on the guitar now, and everything has been clipped, so we're all set to tune the guitar, and we should be on our way. After we get the guitar tuned, we're going to check the tension on the neck. and we're going to make a neck adjustment to make sure that our neck is straight and that it's not bowed. In tuning the guitar, we're going to use a tuning fork, and some people may or may not understand how a tuning fork works, but it works in the amount of cycles that get vibrated. And a tuning fork works in a 440 cycle, which will give us the pitch of an A. Sound good? I hope so. The string that we use, by the way, the second string from the back end, actually it's the 5th string on the guitar, is the A string. So that's what we originally tuned the guitar to all the time, is the A. And then from the A string, we go off to the other strings. Metal strings have a tendency to stretch. The strings here are steel and they're wrapped with phosphor bronze. This is the same technique that they use to make piano wire as well. And when we put brand new strings on the guitar, because they're so thin, they tend to stretch out much easier than a piano string would. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the strings, and that will give us an opportunity to pre-stretch them. And then we'll tune it back up again. I just want to take a look at the neck, and I want to sight it down to see how accurate and how straight it is. The neck has some relief in it between the 5th fret and up here on the 15th fret. Just to take a better, accurate look at that, I'm going to use a straight edge, just to validate what I'm saying is true. Now to validate that, what we'll do is we're going to hold down the 3rd string at the 1st position and over here at the 17th position. Now I'm going to bang in the middle of it and see if we have any play. We have just a little. Because it's winter time, I'm going to try and take just that little bit of relief out of the strings. To do so, we'll do a neck adjustment. We're going to make a quick neck adjustment, and we're going to take the truss rod that's implanted inside the neck that is locked in at the nut position, and it actually has a tightening adjustment screw at the bottom over here. And this is the neck adjustment tool. And we're going to insert this in the middle of the neck. And I'm going to make a very small turn to tighten the adjustment rod. That small adjustment is going to take that little bit of relief out of the neck. We have less play than we did a few moments ago. Plus the wood actually moves, and it takes time for it to gradually come up. So we've done ourselves some good because we have a little bit of relief, and the neck is a little bit straighter. Well, we accomplished what we set out to do. We have a lighter gauge set of strings on here, so the guitar should be easier to play. We have it all tuned up, so we'll give it a quick song to see how it plays and how it feels. As the Tim Allen show used to have for most of its segues, we'll just try that.